It's impossible to imagine the ordeal that the hostages must have suffered in this subterranean hell. It's hard going, it's dusty, it's hot, you've got to crouch down all the time.
We're about to go into Gaza to investigate the tunnel network underneath the strip. This incredibly extensive network of tunnels stretches 450 miles across the entire strip. It's known as the Gaza Metro. It's that extensive, that sophisticated, and this southern section is one of the most important areas. It's known as Hamas's oxygen supply lines because 50 tunnels have been discovered between this area and Egypt and have been used to smuggle guns and other weaponry into the strip. We're about to head into the tunnel, which we've been told extends for 10 kilometres and it goes all the way to the major city of Khan Yunis. This is the tunnel where the commander of the Rafah Brigade was based. He fled from here up to Khan Yunis, where he was killed later on in the war.
The entrance to the tunnel is about 5 feet tall. It's a good job we've got helmets on because I keep bashing my head on the ceiling. You've got to crawl in initially on your hands and knees, then you can stand up. You've got to crouch all the way in. We've gone in about 20 yards now. We're told that when it gets further in, you can stand up to full height. The IDF soldiers who discovered this tunnel were incredibly surprised by the sophisticated nature of it and the extent. It goes 10 kilometres under the southern city of Rafah, a city which has been completely destroyed now in the war.
What you can see here, this basically this hole is another part that we dug out in search of a dark golding. And as you can see behind you, this continuation of the tunnel, there used to be these cement installations, right? And basically a hidden part of the tunnel that we discovered while we were working here for the last year and a half. So in this cave system, they used a lot of these secret, basically secret places, and they really hid a lot of the tunnel in a very difficult way to find. We uncovered it, and it's a thing that Hamas used in a lot of their tunnels. Basically, they basically close out the part. You think there's nothing there, and there's a continuation and a whole other system that you couldn't see.
So how can you be sure that you found every part of the tunnel?
So you look very well, and you have clues that you can find. Basically, that you look for.
We're in part of the tunnel network, which ultimately stretches about 15 metres underground. The soldiers which discovered it have been continued surprised when they discovered extra networks to it. They're hidden, but they do all their checks and they find hidden doorways. They find other parts of the network. There's various holes we've seen in the floor where they've been digging, looking for the Israeli hostage whose body was held here since he was killed in 2014. And they've explained that Hamas used this network for a variety of purposes: to smuggle weapons, to move their troops, and to plan and carry out attacks on Israeli soldiers.
It's impossible to imagine the ordeal that the hostages must have suffered in this subterranean hell. It's hard going, it's dusty, it's hot, you've got to crouch down all the time. Just walking in for 100 yards and back out is an exhausting experience. To be held hostage here for in some cases, the October the 7th hostages were held for 20 days, for more than 20 of the hostages were held for more than 2 years, and it's impossible to imagine what the ordeal they must have suffered. Hamas spent more than 2 decades building this tunnel network at an estimated cost of £1 billion, and it's incredibly sophisticated in parts. It has strategic hubs that control command and control centres where Hamas planned and carried out the October the 7th attacks. It includes branch routes where they use for smuggling weapons and moving soldiers, and then smaller tunnels where Hamas fighters would stage lightning fast surprise attacks on IDF soldiers before disappearing into the tiny shafts back into the tunnel network. One tunnel, 150 feet below ground, was so big a vehicle could be driven along it. It's thought to be 1,300 separate tunnels all across Gaza, which stretch for an estimated 450 miles. And it was in this one, in southern Gaza, in the city of Rafah, where the body of Yahya was discovered. He was killed in 2014, a 23-year-old IDF reconnaissance soldier. He was killed 2 hours into the ceasefire after a 6-week war in 2014, and his body has been held here in Rafah, in southern Gaza, for 11 years, and keeping true to the IDF DNA of never leaving any man behind. They've been conducted operations for many months now to search for his body. That has now been discovered, and Hamas handed that over a few weeks ago. There have been constant skirmishes despite the Trump brokered ceasefire in October. Just 48 hours before we arrived here, 4 Palestinian terrorists were killed by IDF soldiers because they approached the IDF units who feared they were going to carry out terror attacks. That Trump brokered ceasefire split the strip in two. A yellow line now goes down the middle. On the west, the Hamas remain de facto control, while on the east, where we are now, the IDF has operational and full control of this strip. There remains an ever-present risk of further attacks. Before coming into this area of Gaza, we were warned by our IDF press officers who are accompanying us that if anything does happen, to hit the deck, cover your heads, and their soldiers accompany us, they will do what they are trained to do. And you can just see behind me soldiers keeping constant watch on a mound of rubble, which used to be a residential area in this neighbourhood of Rafah. His eyes are scanning the horizon in case of any insurgent attacked by Hamas militants who do remain operative. Despite the shaky ceasefire, a number are still holed out. A number of renegade fighters continue to hold out in a tunnel not far from here. Also testimony to the threat of ongoing attacks is the sound of the drone. The surveillance drone has been constantly above us now throughout the time we've been here, and as I tried to climb higher onto a mound to get a wider shot of the devastation of Rafah, we were told by the RDF to get down. They obviously don't want you to appear too high on these mounds of earth and provide a potential target. The full extent of the devastation in Gaza can be seen clearly behind me. The UN estimates approximately 75% of buildings have been destroyed or damaged. Here in Rafah it appears almost 100%. Also a UN estimates that it will take £69 billion to rebuild the strip.